I got a recent question. What's the big deal about these Himalayan salt lamps? Do they really do what everybody says they do? I'm Hibiscus Moon with hibiscusmooncrystalacademy.com, and we're going to discuss that here today. Okay, so the major thing that everybody says that Himalayan salt lamps do is that they release or put negative ions into your environment. And by the way, I'm going to introduce you to my salt lamp here, and I need to make sure that I'm getting it on the camera. This is a little tricky here, but I have a big one in, whoa, see him there in the corner? There we go. Down there on the floor. He's pretty big. This angle is making him look a lot smaller. He's super heavy and pretty darn big. I hope you can see him there. All right, so that's the one I have here in my crystal space in my studio here. Let's just make sure we're all okay. All right, so and the reason why I like, and I have a salt lamp just about every room, and then we have one on our nightstands on either side of our bed, my husband Frank and I. So I really enjoy having and using Himalayan salt lamps. I talk about them all the time. They're great to have in a sacred space or anywhere you want to increase the negative ions in a space. Now, there are things that are much better and more efficient at putting out negative ions than salt lamps, like mountains or waterfalls or beaches or forests. Very old growth forests have higher negative ion output than a newer forest or man-made planted forest. They put out thousands and thousands of negative ions. So those are the spaces you want to be in. Obviously, if you're in an office or a home that always has its windows closed and no plants, and doesn't have much connection to the outdoors, you have very little, if no, negative ions. Like those offices that are considered sick buildings where you can never open the windows, you can never get fresh air, there's UV lights, blinking away down at people all day long. Those areas usually have zero negative ions. And so you might be saying, well, what's the big deal about negative ions? Who cares? Sounds like a bad thing because you're saying negative ions. And it's not a bad thing at all. It's something that we actually need to help balance ourselves out because we're actually bombarded with positive ions, especially from the electronics and everything all day long. So having negative ions and balancing that out in your environment actually has biochemical benefits to us. So we do want to have these biochemical reactions. We want to have the negative ions within our space because it helps increase certain hormones in our physical body that actually benefit us in lots of ways, like serotonin, which alleviates depression if your serotonin levels are balanced. It helps relieve stress, boosts your energy. So these are obvious benefits and things that we would like to have. Now, like I said before, having said that, Himalayan salt lamps do produce negative ions, but they're not like mega producers. So it helps to have them in an environment where you're really cut off, where you can't get a lot of energy from outdoors. Now, in here in my space, I can open up, I have big sliding glass doors that I can open up, and I often do out into the outdoors. I have that energy coming in. I have a window over here where I can have energy coming in, but the salt lamp helps really boost it, and the bigger the better. So I have a large one in here, and like I said, I have them throughout the home. And they have been tested by negative ion measuring devices, and some people will say, oh, they barely produce anything. Yeah, but they produce something, and I feel that something is better than nothing. So I enjoy having them in a space and encourage using them in a space along with waterfalls and other things like that that can also help boost the negative ions in your environment. Okay, namaste. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.